Hello and welcome to another episode of For a Consideration. It's been a while. We just looked at the last episode number to find out what episode this is. And I had really short hair in the last one, so that's how long it's been.
But your hair grows really fast,
Yeah,
so that kind of doesn't count for much.
It's actually been 3 days. But yeah, this is episode 9, as just confirmed by looking at the previous episode. This is episode 9, and yeah, because it's been a while, we've been busy, and we haven't recorded. We have films to talk about that came out a while ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the good news is, we've got like a backlog, so we're going to record a bunch, hopefully, and just upload like boom, 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 boom. So you'll get loads of content from us two experts. Yeah, and I'm Dan, and I'm joined by Courtney.
Hi.
She's the best. Well, I have to pay a compliment every week. You always say that, so that's your one for last week.
Have I not found your offset yet?
So yeah, the 3 films we're going to talk about today, I should probably say them. And again, I had to look this up now myself because it's been so long since we watched them. The Woman King, Don't Worry Darling, and Moonage Daydream are the 3. So yeah, I think we're going to get some strong opinions on this episode, and some that we agree on and some that we don't.
I think we're going to disagree on quite a lot
What else is new?
with this episode.
Do you? Right, well, let's just go in order.
Okay.
First off, we saw The Woman King. This is literally about 2 or 3 months ago we saw this film.
20th of September, because we got it early with
I was going to say, do you want to know something hilarious? We actually saw this film early because we were with Limitless, and we've still not... And it's on, like, streaming at this point. Like, it's been that long. It's on the website. Okay, so, yeah, The Woman King was a film that I was looking forward to. It was one of those films that, weirdly, I didn't really see anything about until, like, right before it was out, and I was like, holy shit, a film about Viola Davis being this badass warrior, that sounds cool. When I went into it, I don't really know if I enjoyed what I came out with, but it wasn't really what I expected going in.
In what way?
I didn't expect... Maybe I'm being kind of naive. I thought it would be a bit more kind of Oscar baity and less sort of Hollywood. Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like Braveheart in Africa. Like, see the way that Braveheart's clearly an American movie made about Scotland. This is an American movie made about Africa. Like, it gave me... Like, I don't get me wrong, like... I don't know if they shot. I don't know where they shot it. I don't know if it was in Africa or America. Wherever it was a gorgeous looking film. Like, the shots were great. The landscapes and environments were cool. The sets that they built and stuff like that. It all felt authentic. But it was more the way the story went that felt a bit Hollywood and a bit silly. But that's kind of spoiler territory, so we should...
Well, it's going to be full spoiler.
Well,
the film's been out for 3 months.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just want to give like general thoughts before we go into the guts of it. So, like, general thoughts, that was my kind of takeaway. I enjoyed that, but it was a bit more Hollywood over the top dramatised than what I thought it would be.
I disagree. I loved this film. I loved everything about this film. There's nothing... This film was pretty close to a solid 10 for me. Because...
You give it 10s too easy, man. Just dish them out.
Oh, shut up. Because there's nothing about this film that I would change.
Okay.
I loved this movie, and I would sit down and watch it again 1,000 times.
What did you love about it?
I loved all of the performances. I loved all of the casting choices. I thought every actor and every character had such a strong presence. In this, there's nobody that kind of falls by the wayside.
Yeah, there's no real...
Everyone is there for a purpose, and they serve their purpose really well.
I'm trying to think if there's any weak links.
There's not.
Maybe the French guy, he's a bit weak.
No. The weakest link there would be... I'm not going to say his name right because I never get his surname correct. Hero Fines, but it's double-barreled.
Yeah. Is that not him?
I thought you were... I don't know who you're talking about.
The white guy, the colonizer guy, the European...
They were
there's two of them. No, they were like French or something, but they're not.
It's the British colonies that invented
I
them?
don't think they were British. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they were. No,
one of the boys is
they were
Brazilian.
like European.
The boy that she gets with is Brazilian.
Is that him you're talking about?
No.
Oh, well, that's him I was talking about.
No, I'm talking about the white boy.
The one that's like an arsehole?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, those two I thought were kind of...
No, I liked
They were the
him.
worst parts.
I liked the other, but do you know what? Let's get their names up because this is just
Um,
annoying.
so, one thing I really liked about it was the choreography. I thought the fights were great. I liked how it felt. So
you're talking about Jordan Bolger, if that's how you say his surname.
right, sure,
That's him there, right?
yeah.
And I am talking about. We're not getting to find out because Hero finds Tiffin. I knew he had two surnames.
Yeah, the choreography in the film I felt was strong because I think coming out in no, it's kind of different because this is semi based on a true story, but again, it's been embellished because Hollywood, which is again why I'm comparing it to Braveheart, because a lot of the people in this story have kind of been made out to be heroes in this story, whereas they weren't necessarily that good to each other in real life.
But no, that's also they covered that in an interview, but that's okay. Carry
on. But I'm comparing the film I kind of compare it to is Black Panther because it's Black warriors and it's Wakanda's kind of like Africa. And
they use the spears and
it's the same sort
the
of
same similar choreography.
Yeah, but that's what we're going to say. Women King outshone Black Panther, the first Black Panther for me in that sense, because although there was some decent choreography in Black Panther when they were doing the ritual fights at the waterfall, the bit at the end where the two CGI Black Panthers were fighting, I thought looked that's kind of
that's a normal.
That's
fight.
what sticks. That's what sticks in my head. I feel like that film, like a typical MCU fight. Whereas this movie had more like, well, there's nobody in costumes. Like they're all.
There's no technology.
You can see their face, and you can see it's the actual actors doing the stunts.
And it's not like they're fighting with. Things,
like blasters and stuff. Yeah, they're fighting. Yeah, like weapons, like real weapons. It felt like the fighting in it felt tactile. Like it felt like when somebody get punched, you felt it.
Yeah.
When somebody got their face caved in, it was like. I will say it wasn't quite as brutal as I was hoping it was going to be. I think they could have went a bit harder.
Oh,
I think they could have went proper, like people getting gutted and stuff. I think they could have went a bit darker with the sort of, again, the kind of medieval primitive combat. I think they could have went really like balls out with that. It was brutal enough. I mean, there was like part of the end where I think it's Sheila Team's character corners somebody in an alleyway and she like bashes his face in. That was probably the most violent part of the film. More of that would have been great. That was like my favourite part, and I feel like, I don't know, it's just a bit more like visceral bone crushing stuff would have been good. But when actors slammed up against each other, you felt it. Do you know what I mean? It was like bone on bone, skin on skin. When
it was
people
a very
get hit,
physical
it felt
film,
real, even though they're not actually hitting each other. It all looked real. It was convincing. The athleticism that it requires is obviously really impressive. Like I saw that interview where Viola Davis and Lashana Lynch were talking about it, and they were talking about the training it took and stuff. And
I need that arm routine because their shoulders.
I liked how real and physical it all felt as opposed to the kind of floatiness of like a lot of other kind of MCU type movies. Funnily enough, again, peek behind the curtain, we've just seen Black Panther 2, and I feel like Black Panther 2 leaned more into that. Like the fight that, sorry, this is a wee flash forward to Black Panther 2. The fight that Okoye has on the bridge when she was defending Riri, that put me in mind of some of the choreography
and stuff.
It's fine. It's out. By the time I got Black Panther, been out for ages.
2 days.
The fight that's not a spoiler. It was a fight at the bridge. There's a fight at the bridge in Black Panther, and the choreography with the spear and stuff reminded me a bit of the Woman King.
Right.
The Woman King, though, the other thing that felt a bit contrived and a bit Hollywood for me, if we're going into full spoilers, was the twist reveal that she was her daughter. I don't like when movies, especially movies that claim to be like true stories, do that. You know, when it's all about like destiny. Like I'm okay when it's like Harry Potter or Star Wars. You know, there's a lot of like you're my father, not like legacy and stuff. That's in The Chosen One. Like I'm okay with it in like fictional stuff. It does kind of annoy me because it's a bit tropey, it's a bit overdone at this point. But I can live with it. But when something like this is meant to, it's not a historical retelling. You can tell it's been embellished, but it's still based in, you know, a real army and a real tribe and real stuff that happened in Africa and stuff. And just making her the daughter just felt like, oh, this is a movie.
So
this is now a movie.
We spoke about this before, and I told you why you're wrong.
Tell me again.
I disagree with you on that because of the reason that it was used. So it's used because Viola Davis's character is a victim of rape, as quite a lot of women in that kind of time and in that kind of environment would have been. And she was put in as her daughter to highlight the actions that then follow.
Your consequences.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the kind of process that people, like, it's against their law for her to be a mother. And her life...
Do you mean in the army thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her life is to be a Dahomey tribe warrior.
Mm-hmm.
That's her full life.
Yeah, because they're not even allowed to have relationships, because when the girl gets with that guy, she freaks out. She's like, can't I?
So they're not allowed to have any relationships. They're not allowed to be mothers. They're not allowed to be wives. They're not allowed to have any sort of a relationship with anyone. Mm-hmm. And this happened to her. This was forced on her. She was raped. And in that tribe, with the ruler that they also would have had at that time, because they speak about him in the film, she would have been cast out. She would have not had a life. Her and her daughter probably would have died because they wouldn't have anywhere to turn to. Mm-hmm. So it shows you, it's to give you context. Mm-hmm. Her being the daughter in that film, okay, yeah, fair enough. It does come across as quite Hollywood, but there's a purpose behind it, so that's why I'm okay with it. It's to show you what would actually happen to these people if it was to have happened in real life.
Sure. I wonder if...
And I like the way they showed it in.
I wonder if it might have been more effective then if they'd done that with one of the other characters rather than the main character, because I think making it like the two main characters are the girl who I was just going to shout out. Is it Thuso Mdu? What did you say her name? Mbedu. Thuso Mbedu. She was. I'm going to give her a shout because see when you're going up against heavyweights like Viola Davis, Anna Lynch, and Sheila Hakim, she carried herself and she went toe to toe with them, and she wasn't. It wasn't. What we're going to talk about, Don't Worry Darling, in a minute, right? About Harry Styles and Florence Pugh and the kind of difference in acting range. You didn't feel that here. It wasn't like, oh, Viola Davis is an Oscar-winning actress and this is just a wee lassie. They were on par with each other.
Yeah, they were. Very much so.
And that was really impressive because look at the cast.
Why I disagree with you about that as well. I feel like it hits harder because she is the leader of that female army, and it just embeds...
Is this the main character thing?
Yeah.
Right.
So the fact that she's the one that had the daughter, not like Lashana Lynch or Sheila... What's her name?
A team.
Yes, thank you. It's because she is the leader of this army. She is the head of this army. She will have sacrificed a full life to get into that position. Mm-hmm.
I think my issue though is just them being the two main characters. Like, it's those two women's stories primarily, and the fact that this girl's cast out for like adopted family, as you find out, and then she goes into this army and she's like, "This is the life I want. This is the life I'm choosing." And there's all this like kind of like animosity at first, like, oh, she's a daffy lassie, and then she proves herself during the training courses and stuff, and obviously she kind of gains her respect. Blah blah blah. And then the leader of the army that she just happens to go and join happens to turn out to be her mother. It just seems a bit...
It's not happens though. She has it in that community. And then she tells Sheila Hatim to go and kill her, basically. Take her away, drown her, do whatever you need to do.
And she couldn't do it.
So where else is she going to go? It's not like they stay in Cardonald and she could pass her off into Maryhill or something and they never ever meet. Like,
Africa's a big place, I don't know.
But they don't have that close proximity to other people. And it's not as if she's going to then go and give her up to the other tribe that has the man in it that raped her. What else is she going to do?
It just came across a bit contrived.
No, I disagree. I think you're wrong.
Well, it wouldn't be an episode of For a Consideration without you saying that.
No.
What else I liked about the movie? I liked... So, my main things were the performances were incredible. The look of the film was really nice to look at because of where it was shot.
Very
and
pretty.
the cinematography. And the choreography was a huge highlight. The story... I wasn't the biggest fan of. It just felt a bit. Oh, this is like I thought there might be a bit more of like buying into like this being the actual story, whereas I think the moment that they pulled that twist, it was like it took me right away.
But you can't see where I'm coming from in it at all.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I get the what you call it, the need for it to be the main character. Like I understand what you're saying, but I just think it would be more palatable for an audience to accept if it was a side character. I'm not saying it would be as impactful. It might not be as impactful, but I guess that's a trade-off.
It's a child of rape, but it's not supposed to be palatable.
Well, no, I don't mean palatable in that sense. I mean palatable as in me not sitting going, this is a dumb Hollywood movie.
So for you,
by a
not for
script writer.
audiences, for you.
Also, Maria Bello wrote the story, which is really interesting. Did you see that? Her name came up in the writing credits. I just seen it again. They were in Prisoners together, the two other prisoners, and she co-wrote this. Because Viola Davis's name as well is all over like the credits. She's like executive producer.
Well, it's her production company.
Yeah,
it's one of the production companies that worked on it. Juvie Productions. It was a beautiful film. I would, like I said, I could watch it 100 times over. Like, I've not stopped recommending it to people since we've seen it. I absolutely loved it. It was everything that I thought it would be going in, but then also maybe slightly better.
Someone else that sort of took me out of it a wee bit was John Boyega. I thought he was okay.
Do you know, I was going to list him as one of my weak links.
He's one of the worst, and it's a high bar, so I don't know.
So he's still decent.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad performance by him, but he was one of the weakest. Yeah.
I like John Boyega, and I like his charisma. I don't know how great an actor he is. I think his charisma carries him a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's got a charm to him. He's charismatic. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's likable.
Yeah.
But in terms of actual like acting chops, he's not quite up there with other.
Like what you said with the young girl. Whose name I can't. You've took it right, but it's okay. Like what you said with her. Standing up to Viola Davis.
Yeah, exactly.
She stood up and held her own.
Yes, whereas the scenes with him and her was a bit more. There's more disparity.
It was like teacher student.
Thuso and Mbedu. Yeah.
It was like teacher student.
Yeah, it was like there's an experienced actor and there's an up and coming actor.
Yeah, so you would expect that to happen with Thuso and Mbedu, and it didn't. But it did with him.
Also, am I right in saying, is this not like one of her first roles as well? Like I don't
think so.
think the girl's been in much, which this to be your first role, to walk into this and do. She was in something called The Underground Railroad on Amazon Prime, and I think she was in our TV thing before this. She's only been in 10 things.
Wow.
But yeah, other than that episode, so this is their first film. It looks like there's a couple of that was like a short film and a bunch of TV stuff.
Yeah,
that's their first movie.
It's their first feature.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, debut performance. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, because it really was.
And she's very young.
That was the other thing as well. Going in, I sort of felt like we just watched the trailer to refresh ourselves, and Viola Davis's name's literally above the title card. So you can, and because it's her production company stuff, you kind of go and expect it to be like, well, this is a Viola Davis film. But the fact that coming away from it, I actually say it's more her film, and it's Viola Davis is more slightly supporting.
And also, when you have Adrienne Warren acting with you, who is she was one of the other girls that was fighting in the team.
Okay.
And she's
one of the young girls, one of the trainees.
Remember I told you when we left, she's the girl that's in the wheelchair in Orange is the New Black.
Sure.
And she's playing Tina Turner on Broadway just now.
Right.
She's phenomenal. She's fantastic. She is a phenomenal actress. And that girl outshone her all the way, I think.
Yeah. See, I need to rewatch it, but from memory, I don't remember any of the kind of young trainee actors being bad. I thought they
were all good. They were all really good.
That's been a while.
But it just shows her level when she's acting.
Yeah, she had a lot to carry.
Like her.
She had a lot of weight to emotional weight.
And it also felt very ensemble-y. It felt like it was a team effort from everyone.
You see ensemble, I'd say it was like, well, the 4 women on the poster are those 4.
Yeah.
and it was I'd say like ensemble's like a 8-person
No, but it
plus.
felt like
It's really it's those four.
everyone was elevating each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It felt like everybody was like from an
Yeah,
actor's
but they all
point of
trained
view,
together
like.
and stuff. So they also had like
But
camaraderie.
that's what you get with stuff like that. But there's also some things that you watch that is just
Yeah, that's lacking.
yeah. Whereas this, they all had brilliant chemistry with each other, and it was all actors acting and reacting together, and I like that.
Good. Okay, what would you rate it? Don't let my thing sway you. You give it your rating. If you think it's a 10, give it a 10.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
What's the half for?
I don't know.
So just give it a 10?
No.
I feel like just give it a 9.5 because I was like, you just should taste looking at a fashion.
No, I'm not because I'm my own person. But there's just something in it that's just. I feel like maybe if I rewatched it, I would give it a 10. But sitting just remembering it.
See,
I think I'm going to 9.5.
I
think it's Hero Finds it's making me drop down my rating.
I'm sort of the opposite actually. I think from memory, I think I'm remembering it being better than how I felt at the time. Like I think at the time when we were driving home and talking about it, I think I was at like a 7.5. But thinking back, I'm probably at an 8. But again, I don't know why. I feel like I would need to rewatch it. But
I'd happily rewatch it.
I mean, a 7.5 is still a high rating especially for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a well-made film. If you're just looking for something that's got like, it's a big Hollywood movie with lots of cool choreography, then it's bang up your street. If you're looking for something that's maybe, I don't know, just a bit more kind of like Oscar baity, then it's maybe not this. Although if it was nominated for performances or for choreography, I'd say 100% deserves a nomination for that.
What sense? What do you mean by
that? More like, I'm trying to think, has there been another movie like that out this year that I can compare it to? Probably not yet because we're still a bit early for Oscar season. I guess the closest thing's probably Banshees and Sharon that we've seen so far. Which we will talk about in a later episode. But just something like that that's more introspective and a bit more slower, darker moments. It had I don't know, it had dark moments, but I didn't overly ponder on them, which is maybe a good thing because it might have been a bit more draggy if it did. But yeah, I don't know. I just think for like,
I think with the tempo it was trying to set,
yeah, the pacing, yeah.
It was ideal.
Yeah.
But I get okay.
I just feel like I thought it was going to be a bit more introspective, but I don't necessarily know if that's a bad thing coming away from it. Like, it's more of like a popcorn action movie than I'm expecting, I guess, is my thing. I was expecting more like The Last King of Scotland vibe.
I've never seen that.
Like, that's more like dramatic and big speeches, and don't get me wrong, the speeches are in here are well acted, but it's just...
No, I would prefer
it's punctuated with all the
is.
action scenes, which, yeah, I don't know. No, I liked it for what it was as well. I liked it for what it was. Yeah, so that's Women King. Let's move on to... Let's do Moonage Daydream. Let's get that out of the way, because you seem to be on one, so why don't you tear this thing apart? In case you don't know what Moonage Daydream is, it's a...
Shite!
It's a Bowie documentary. It was made by someone who apparently knew David Bowie very well, and I was very much looking forward to it because I'm a huge Bowie fan. If you don't know me, I must admit, even though I wanted to like this so bad, and I wanted to go and watch it, enjoy it kind of way, going, oh, that's amazing, and I wanted you to like it, and I wanted to rewatch it again. I am never going to rewatch this again, ever. So it really felt like it was being made by someone in their bedroom using clips that they found on the internet of David Bowie. It didn't, and you actually said this, and I totally agree, it didn't feel that personal. It didn't really feel like it was someone that knew and grew up with Bowie. It felt like a fan, but not even a really boring fan. A really boring fan who only... The thing that baffles me the most, that really bothered me, I agree. It was a bit long and drawn out as well. Right, we'll get to that. The thing that baffled me was how many times they repeated the same clips. To the extent that, like...
That you wanted to kill yourself?
To the extent that it happened once and I thought, that's just me, it must just be a similar... Oh no, there it is again. Oh my god, they're using it a fourth time. Like, there's this particular shot of the camera flying past the moon that I really remember, and genuinely that gets used 4 or 5 times. Within... Like, it gets used once, I think, at the very start, and then it maybe gets used about an hour in, and then seeing the last 10 minutes, they use it about 3 times in the last 10 minutes. It's so dense, and you're like... How much footage is out there of David Bowie and David Bowie music videos?
He's not even in that footage.
And on stage performances, it's a late music video it's from. But like, how much content is there that you need to reuse? And there's a shot of him just going up and down escalators that, again, really for a really long time, like all you're seeing is David Bowie doing a voice. So he's doing a voiceover, so you can't listen to him, but he's just going up and down escalators in like Berlin, I think. And then it's about a 10-minute sequence, and then you use that whole 10-minute sequence again at the end of the movie. It kind of bookends the movie, and you're like, what? It wasn't like interesting the first time. I don't know. It just, I was really surprised at how
god awful.
See, I wouldn't say it was awful. I still liked it because I'm a Bowie fan, but I will say if you're not a Bowie fan, this is not going to convince you. And this is made for hardcore Bowie fans. And everybody else will see this as a boring waste of time. Like, and that's not a good documentary, to me. A good documentary should be interesting to anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to line up with your interests, but when you watch it because of the way the filmmakers made it, or the narrator's reading the story, or whatever's going on, it should grip you. Even if it's about something like...
The making of Pen.
Yeah, like something generic. Like, if it's interesting and there's a good kind of narrative to it, then it should grab you. But this just didn't have it. It was more... The thing that I didn't mind about it, that I think you hated, it was very sporadic and it didn't really feel focused. It felt like it was just Bowie talking about stuff. Because there's no actual kind of narrator. It's the only voice you really hear is Bowie's, and it's just taken from interview clips and stuff. And he just talked about art, he's talked about music, the feeling of being on stage, the feeling of being a character like Ziggy and giving up characters, and like, but it doesn't feel focused. There's not like any themes. It's just 1 minute he'll be talking about when he went to Berlin and made the Low album, and then the next minute they'll cut back to like when he wrote Space Oddity in the 60s, and you're like, there's no cohesion, there's no thread to it. It just kind of goes, and I didn't hate that, but I think that sort of thing works better in like a TV context or a YouTube. Like, I feel like it should have just been like a streaming movie. Like, the fact, and that's the other thing. I really want to see it in cinema because of the sort of visual thing. Like, the trailer was all these colours and stuff, and there was only about 3 showings of it. So we sort of went out our way to go and see this for me, which is why I kind of feel a bit guilty dragging you to it. It was like 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, and that was the only time that week it was showing or something, and that we weren't working, and like we sort of made time to go and see it, and then it was just this like half-arsed, regurgitated, unfocused look at Bowie, and the only reason I really liked any aspect of it was because it was about Bowie. If it was about anybody else, yeah, I would have hated it. What did you think?
Right.
Now that's not a good review for me, but I feel like it's going to be even worse.
This thing was not a documentary. It's not a documentary. It's not. Because you don't get any information across. You just get small clips that are already out in the world of him on TV talking about stuff. And don't get me wrong, those bits
were the best bit.
Brilliant, right? Those bits are fine. But you don't get any context to that. You don't get, if you are, like you said, if you are going in...
surprisingly very few of that as well.
Yeah, there's about 4 clips of that.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
And like a 250-minute film, there's like a couple of 4-minute clips of that.
No, this film's longer than that.
I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to cut the runtime.
So, no, this wasn't a documentary. It doesn't give you any information. Documentaries are supposed to be informative.
Mm-hmm. See, there's
no information.
That's the part that, because I already know a lot about Bowie and stuff, I didn't mind it being like a snapshot of different moments in his life. But I can totally see why someone who's not a massive Bowie fan, or even not a Bowie fan at all, would think that, because I agree, like, unless you...
So, like, I do like Bowie. I like Bowie's music. I think he's a cool guy, whatever. But...
it's not very general.
No. So this is just... For me, this looks like a film student who's trying to impress
I
a really artsy lecturer and has made this show of colours that is split up into 4 acts with,
I was spot on. It's 250 minutes. What a guess.
Wow. So, it's split up into 4 acts by the 4 separate, very small 2-minute clips of Bowie talking about Bowie. And that's it. That's it. The rest is... It's not even his music. The rest is just sound.
Not that much music.
It's random sound. Random colours and random images. And it is the worst thing I have ever sat through in my life. Ever in my life.
The thing about what you're saying about the sort of assault on the senses, because I agree with that, it is just colours and images and noises.
But not even in an interesting way.
Well, I was going to say there was a wee part of that, there was a wee novelty to that I thought, oh, this is an interesting way to do a documentary. I've not really seen this before. I thought that for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, right.
And then you've got another hour and so many minutes at, like an hour 50 minutes to go, and you're like,
so
the novelty's going off.
Initially, I was like, right, okay, this could be quite an artsy documentary. You're going to have this kind of colours and sounds. Cool, fine, brand new.
It gets old. Fast.
Now I'm expecting somebody to come on the screen telling me something about David Bowie that I didn't know.
Yeah.
If this man is so close to him and knows him so well and knows all the people in his circle and knows everything about him, surely he's going to have some interesting people coming in to chip in a wee bit, give some information.
Yeah, like a wee clip.
Bowie was like this one Christmas or something.
A wee clip of Mick Jagger or Mark Bolan or folk that knew him.
Somebody talking about him, somebody. Almost
Freddie,
like a remembrance piece.
Yeah.
Like, his son.
There must be clips out.
Like, family member, anyone. Like, literally, I would take anybody in the world telling me something about, even if it was friggin' made up, like, just give me some sort of information. No, here's another stupid image with another big flash of colour and more stupid sound for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Sorry, 2 hours, the 15 minutes, Bowie's talking.
I agree that it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, a good kind of metaphor that I just kind of thought of there, you know how those songs, quite a lot of chart songs I feel like, but that's just my opinion. You know those songs that you'll start listening to and you're like, oh, that's okay, but let's hope it goes somewhere. And then it gets to the chorus and it doesn't really change and it's just generic, kind of mediocre all the way through and then it ends.
I would
imagine that, but for 2.5 hours. Like,
and really boring.
That is this film. Like, it doesn't go anywhere.
No.
Like, if you've seen, like, maybe I'd say that if you are a Bowie fan, or maybe if you're a Bowie fan, you might want to watch it, right?
You don't want to watch it. Nobody wants to watch it.
If you're interested in a, like, unique documentary,
no.
Can I get this out? If you're interested in a unique documentary, maybe watch the first 10 minutes. But see, beyond that, you've seen the whole thing. You don't need to keep watching. Like, you could put this off. You could also put this off because there's no, like, thread to it and there's no, like, conclusion. It just kind of ends about 3 times, which we'll go into that. Because there's none of that, you could just watch, like, so what happens quite a lot, which is the reason we're saying that the loads endings, there'll not actually be anything on the screen other than a black screen with a couple of colours, like a blue splash, an orange splash, a purple splash, and then there'll be like a voiceover of like Bowie, right, and he's like, oh yeah, I like drawing and stuff and whatever, and then he'll stop and then the colours all fade away and you've got a black screen. And a few times
and you go,
we'd been sitting for about an hour and 45 minutes, so I'm like, right, oh no, there's more. And that happened about 3 times. And the thing is, you could put this film off at any of those points and be done. And then if you really wanted to go back to it, and you wouldn't lose anything because there's no direction to it. It's so aimless that you could watch any of these clips in any order. You could re-edit this whole film, put better footage over it. Like, I could, if I had the time and the patience and the desire, I could make a better Bowie documentary using the clips in this film, reordering them in a more narrative sort of cohesive way and putting better footage over it. Like, and that's not what you should be saying when you're watching a film. You should be like, oh wow, this is an artistic thing about an artist, you know, about somebody.
It didn't even feel Bowie-esque to me.
You said it sort of put you off Bowie's legacy, almost.
See if like you were going in.
Legacy of it.
See if you were going into this, right, not knowing anything about David Bowie, or maybe you've maybe heard a couple of songs, don't really know anything about him. Like, if you were born in like 2006, right, and you don't know anything about David Bowie.
This isn't going to tell you anything.
It's not going to tell you anything.
No.
And you're going to go,
What was all that about?
is that this guy's style? Is that
Yeah.
representative of this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, like,
It's not.
don't get me wrong, like, Bowie was obviously, like, very artsy and stuff, but
Not like that.
his themes and stuff, they always had a purpose to them.
It was so forced.
Always had an aim. This didn't really have a name to it.
No,
It felt so directionless.
It had no aim, no direction, but at the same time, felt so forced. Like, it felt like he was trying to prove
Trying
a point.
hard.
But the point is totally missing to me. And I think if he could come back and give an opinion on it, I think he'd go, what you doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, this isn't... If you're going to give us something like this that's not actually giving any information,
Mhm.
it should then be an essence of the person. Or an essence
Sure.
of the character. Because Bowie was obviously big on his characters, right? And they, like, that is a few of the things that Bowie talks about when he talks
Not enough.
in this film. Is taking on the characters and how that gives them confidence, blah, blah, blah.
And again, the characters weren't even in order. Like,
No.
they show you the Thin White Duke before they even finished with Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was 5 years after that. Why?
No.
There was no order to it.
It wasn't like, it should then give you an essence of this man. You should play maybe music he was into, or
Yeah,
like
that's doing it.
something,
Had inspiration.
so that if you were a member of his family, and if you were
Well-
his son or his partner
Well-
or whoever, and if you went in and watched it, you'd go, this feels like my dad.
Well, this was sanctioned by the Bowie family.
I know you told me that,
Duncan
but
Jones
I feel
and
like
is
if
it a
Duncan
man?
Jones
His wife?
was to walk in
Man.
to that film and sit down and watch that film, you'd go, what is this getting to do with it?
Apparently, they like gave it their stamp of approval.
They watched it? No.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. But I know that this was sanctioned by the Bowie.
Speed?
This was sanctioned by the Bowie estate. I wonder though if a lot of that's just to do with like kind of nepotism because the guy
Yeah.
knew Bowie and it was almost like I guess maybe the guy's like Duncan Jones' uncle kind of thing because like he grew up with him and it's just like
Yeah.
oh this guy's been
Like, I can see them being
like,
like giving them the okay to go ahead and do it before they actually see it. Because you would turn around and go, oh,
I
this
don't-
man knows my dad.
I don't know if they were at the premiere and stuff. I'm not sure about all that to be honest.
But nah. Worst thing I've ever sat through in my life. The only time in the cinema I have actively went to sleep,
You're so hyperbolic.
like begged myself to fall asleep, was in this film. We were about 45 minutes into this film. Felt like way longer. So much. I can't even express how much longer this 45 minutes felt. And I turned around to him and I went, how long does this get left? And he was like, oh, I don't know. He lied. He did know. He was fully aware.
I don't know.
You told me after we left.
Oh yeah.
That you knew.
Yeah, I knew
There was a long time
heart to it, that's right.
So he knew. Oh, I don't know. Oh, no, I don't know. I was like, do you think I've got time to go for a pee? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't even need pee. I did not need to pee. And so I got up and I went out and I looked at my phone and I went, 45 minutes. We've been in here for 45 minutes. No, we haven't. And then I looked up the runtime to find out I had an hour and a half left to go.
And I didn't realise, I think, how long you thought was left, but I knew that you thought it was nearly finished, and I was well aware. I was like, I maybe didn't know the exact, like, how long was left, but I knew it was nearly finished. And that's why I was like, oh, I don't know. Because, like, I knew that you thought it was nearly done, and it
An hour
was
and a half.
and I didn't have the heart to tell you, like, you're only halfway through, mate, after that.
We weren't even halfway through. We had an hour and a half left to go. And I was like, there's not a pee in the world that's going to take me this long. And then walking back from the bathroom, I was like,
Just try to take your time.
can I sneak into another film? I'll literally go in and watch anything else. Anything else.
Yeah.
Literally anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else.
It's a shame, because Bowie, obviously, is an icon. I'm a massive fan, and like I said, I wanted this to be a great documentary, but
I like going to see documentaries. I mean, like,
can't recommend
we
it.
we go to see documentaries all the time. I am a lover of documentaries. This thing
I can't recommend it.
was not a documentary. There was no
If-
information given.
If for whatever, I don't think anyone's watched this for recommendations, but if you are, the only sort of recommendation I could possibly give would be if
Don't see it.
you missed this in the cinema and you are a
Lucky
hardcore
you.
Bowie fan, then maybe watch it online.
Don't watch it.
But see if you're not,
Don't watch it.
don't watch it.
If you are, if you're not, don't watch it. It's not worth the 2 hours and 15 minutes of your life. Actually, what you would be better doing is going and cleaning your toilet.
What?
Just go clean your toilet. It'll take you less time and be less painful. I promise. It's the worst thing I would watch. Right, this just proves my point even more.
Go on.
I would watch The Lighthouse twice before I'd watch this film
I think
again.
it goes to Jackass.
Oh, there you go. I would watch every Jackass film there is
You're right.
before I'd watch this film again.
Um,
I'm not going to do that, but I would do that. If it was like you either watch this film or watch all of the Jackass films or you die, I would maybe die.
what I'm curious about, if folk are watching this and they've got something to say, I feel like this was quite well received. Like the other reviewers I've seen talking about this,
They talk pish.
top pish. But maybe I'm in the minority. Like, if so, let us know. Like, if you enjoyed this thing, let us know.
You're
and please tell us why. Like, I genuinely want to know, because maybe I'll see it through different lenses. If I'm maybe something
I
like
won't.
click. I don't think it will. But
I won't.
I'm open to the idea because I want to like it. But yeah,
I
see
won't
it.
change my
I
mind.
don't see it.
No.
unfortunately.
No.
So yeah,
No.
that was Moonage Daydream.
It was.
Do you want to give that a score? Go, because
Do we-
I'm going to have to think about this.
Do we do minus scores?
No, a zero's lost. You can give it a zero.
Zero then.
Right, okay.
I would go minus if I could. It's
Yeah.
the worst thing I've ever seen. Ever.
Right, I'm going to give 2 ratings because I'm going to say if you're a Bowie fan, it's maybe like a 3 or a 4.
What?
But
What?
you can find better Bowie documentaries on the internet for free, right on YouTube. If you're not a Bowie fan, this is a 1 or a 2. You might like some of the pretty colours for the first 10 minutes, but after that, after that, there's nothing of merit here.
You do realise you gave the first Thor film a 4?
Oh yeah, it's probably. Oh, there's a question what I'd rather watch again.
The first Thor. Not even the third one.
The first Thor.
You gave the first Thor film a 4.
When?
Yeah. On your... What?
My reviews.
Yeah.
I gave the new Thor a 4. So
Right. But...
if you're asking me, would I rather watch Love and Thunder again
Yes.
or
every day for the rest of
Moonage
my life,
Daydream?
if I could erase that from my brain.
Nah, I'd probably go with Moonage Daydream if I had to watch one of them. So, the last film we're going to talk about in this episode is Don't Worry Darling. And although this is not my favourite of the 3, I feel
So much better than Moonage Daydream, but...
I feel like this might be the one I've got the most to say about.
Okay.
So,
This is the one I think we're going to mostly disagree on.
So I've kind of went first for all these so far. So do you want to give us your thoughts and then I'll see what I...
Well, I mean, you tried to do that with Moonage Daydream and then you just spoke anyway, so we'll give it a go and see if I can get my points across, but we'll see. I like this film. I did. I wasn't too sure going in because, unfortunately, the hype that was around this film started to kind of ruin it for me. And also,
Which
if
is a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
And if I oversee a trailer,
Yeah.
that can sometimes put me
Yeah.
off. And obviously, we go to the cinema a lot. It's literally all we do. So, you go in and you see it a lot. You also see it being advertised with things like, I can't remember what was being advertised
Yeah.
with it, but they were using it for other things.
Wasn't it all like a General Odeon advert? It was like, come to Odeon. and
Yeah, I
watch.
think so.
Yeah.
So just like pure oversaturation
Sure.
before it's even come out, especially when they're trying to be all like, oh, but what's it gonna be like? They do. Do you know what I mean? When they're trying to have an air of mystery about it, they can't then oversaturate
Yeah.
the trailer.
Over market it, yeah.
That kind of bummed me out going in. So I was kind of like, initially when I first seen the trailer, I was like, this looks class. Don't know about Harry Styles, was a bit out there for me, but Florence Pugh, I could literally watch her read my shopping list. Like, I love her. Love her. And I was quite a big Olivia Wilde fan, but again, this whole kind of experience has put me off for a wee bit. But, so I wasn't sure. Initially, I was looking forward to it. Going in, I was a bit like, I just kind of felt like I had to see it. But no, I did. I enjoyed it. It was just basically a longer version of the trailer. Like, for a good portion of the film, they are kind of going, oh, something weird's happening here, something weird's happening here, and that's what the trailer was doing.
They do it for too long.
I agree with you on that. They do it for a bit too long, but I still liked it. I was enjoying the performances. I was enjoying the cinematography. I was enjoying the scenery, the set, all of that. Like, the costumes, just her hair alone in this could have been its own character. Like, I just I really loved the look of this film. I thought it was a really pretty film. But saying that, it does leave you with quite a lot of questions. And that does take it out of it for me a wee bit, because it also doesn't feel like a film that's going to have a sequel to it. So it doesn't feel like they're setting it up for you to then learn the answers of those questions later, which is quite annoying. But obviously we're full spoilers at this point, so for me, all the kind of mysterious stuff happening, like with the neighbour like falling off the roof and all that, like all that kind of build up, yeah, okay, that's fine. It could have been cropped a wee bit though, definitely. And then when it's like the big reveal and she's running up the hill and all that, and you find out what's happening, you had more problems with that than I did.
At the end, you mean?
So with the ending, you find out that it's all AI, and that she's actually lying in a bed in a dingy flat, totally unaware of the actual real world. So she keeps getting flashbacks, and she's got this song going through her head. She's like, how do I know this song? Because obviously their world is set in like the 1950s. And it's not quite a song that goes with the time. So she's kind of like, where am I hearing this song? And everybody's like, what are you humming? Like, so that being in the real world and slipping into your consciousness, and this, I like that. I like that aspect of it. And then you see Harry Styles, who genuinely really surprised me in this film. I really liked his performance. His accent was a bit kind of all over the place, but so is Charlie Hunnam's at the end of the day, so you kind of can't go on that, and everybody loves him. But with it being AI, you find out that he's chose the character that he wants to be. He's chose that he wants to be a British man of like opulence and wealth and whatever.
That's how they explain away the accent.
And that's kind of how they explain away the accent, which I can forgive.
No, he's British in the real world, in the simulation.
In the simulation, he's American.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what it is. In the simulation, he's American.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's meant to be.
Meant
It doesn't all sound American, but it's meant to. That's what it was.
So he's in the simulation, he's American, and outside he's British, and so they try and swap it. And she's got this thing like opening her eyes so that she constantly has to look, and it's almost like she's being hypnotised.
Football courage.
Oh, is it? I've never seen it. And he's like dabbing her mouth to keep her hydrated, that kind of thing. But you then have quite a lot of questions. So when she's running away and Chris Pine gets stabbed by his wife, you then start to think, oh, maybe
Gemma Chan's behind it.
she's behind it. That goes nowhere. That doesn't get answered, which for me is the most annoying part.
Yeah.
Really, really annoying. Also, then you have
What was the plane crash? Like, why did they put a plane crash in the simulation?
Yeah.
For them to go investigate? Like,
Yeah.
why? What was the reason for that?
So you get
Why? We just rewatched the trailer there to refresh ourselves. What was that humming noise whenever it all wraps on the table and stuff, and they're all holding it? We still don't know.
So
none of that is
they're all
answered.
sitting, and I think it's almost something that maybe occurs like every day or every week.
Yeah, at a certain time. It's a regular occurrence.
And they go,
And they like hold all the vases and stuff. Like.
And they say it's something that the men are working on. So the men leave the simulation to then cut about the real world and do what they need to do, and then come back into the simulation. And in the simulation, that's them going to work. And none of the women know what they're doing for work. It's just known as this project. And that is what it is. Like, that bothered you, but that doesn't bother me that the men leave.
It bothered me that, like, so the deal is, right, if you, because Chris Pine's character's kind of made out to be a sort of Olivia Wilde compared to Jordan Peterson. Whether you think that's true or not, it's up to you. But he's meant to be this sort of like incel god that all these like young men who are kind of aimless and directionless all gravitate towards him, like a Joe Rogan figure or a Jordan Peterson or whoever, right? One of these folk. And obviously that part, sure, that's kind of mirroring our reality, that's fine. But the deal is, you hypnotise your partner and you have to, like, I assume, clean up their shit and their pee, and I don't know why you put a nappy on them. Like, it involves some disgusting shit, right, to maintain this.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the life of, like, that's your life of luxury? Like, so you can go and live in a simulation and live this life of luxury. You then need to wake up every night and do all this, like, probably feed her and feed yourself, and then be in your wee depressing flat. And then that's your time off work. And then you go back to work.
That's your work. That is the work.
Right.
That's the work.
Okay.
And then they go back
to do their downtime.
But
it still doesn't seem like a great trade-off, though,
that's
right?
supposed to be the point. Their life is supposed to have been so bad before, or he's supposed to have seen his life as so bad before, that it's entirely worth it. To have her love him, to have her attention all the time.
The movie didn't do a good job. A movie that's going down that avenue should be going round both sides. It should show the appeal of it and show the kind of the reason that it's wrong, the moral. That's the moral quandary of something like this, like The Matrix. Like, there's some folk in the like, that's a big comparison for me because it's in simulation. In The Matrix, Cypher, what's his name, the bald Italian guy, Joe Pantanello's character, he wants to be plugged back in. He's working with Mr. Smith so that he can have his memory of the real world wiped, and he can just be plugged in and just be oblivious and happy. That's a moral quandary. He doesn't want to know what reality is because he's happy in a dream world, and he will kill people to get that. And that's the thing that's like, that seems like a good trade-off, and you can buy that character, a certain type of person might go for that. In this movie, I wasn't convinced of that this fictional deal that they set up, because it would be horrible. Like, even, I mean, live in a weird, like, Fallout world, and then come out of that, and then live in a wee shitty flat, and like, and then
But he spends the majority of his time in the simulation. So no, I totally understand that.
And also, like, what is the money for? Like, if Chris Pine's paying them, what are you spending the money on? Because you're in a simulation and everything's, like, I guess free because it's a simulation. And then you're in the real world at night in a dingy flat.
But you still have to pay bills. You still have to pay
but
for life in the real world.
But I thought the idea is that, like, especially when he gets offered the big promotion and stuff, that's a big thing with Chris Pine offering Harry Styles a promotion, that he's getting paid a lot of money. Like, surely he would have to be getting paid a lot of money to consider something like this. So, like, what is the end goal?
I don't think he is getting paid. I don't think money is the end goal of this. Like, I don't think the money comes into it. The thing that comes into it is when you see them in the real world and you see her, she's a surgeon and she's a successful woman who is married to a waste of space. An absolute waste of space. He knows he's not good enough for her.
Right. So it's
there is the massive possibility of her leaving him.
It's like a self-deprecating thing?
Yeah. So because he is such a waster and she's a successful one, it's for me the biggest comparison. I think we've spoken about this before, but for me the biggest comparison with this film is Handmaid's Tale.
Sure.
Because
these lawyers and surgeons all get made
oppressing her.
Sure.
He's taken her right back to the 50s when the only role for a woman is to dote on her man.
Sure. Okay.
And clean the house, always be ready for sex, take care of yourself.
I don't feel like Harry Styles' character then was portrayed in a way that he's that kind of person. Like, he's not. They should have made him more homophobic, more sexist, more overtly.
But that's the thing. He's not, though.
So why is it?
Because it's all self-doubt for him. So maybe, like, Gemma Chan is, or Chris Pine is, whoever it is that created it, because that's a wee bit up in the air after the end. But she is like the Serena, and he is like the Fred Waterford. Because she is like, we should do this for women. I believe that women should feel like this and should behave like this. And he's the one that's the homophobic, the head of it all. He's the one that has all these views.
Chris Pine.
Uh-huh.
But again, he wasn't even overly portrayed as that.
No, he could have, I agree, he could have been portrayed as that as more.
If they were going for that, he should have went more explicit with it. They were too tame with it.
But he was too nice.
Yeah, he still has some Chris Pine. He still got his...
But in this... So
yeah, because characters are charming, I guess.
Yeah, he's meant to be super charming and likeable and makes you want to come into his world.
Sure.
So you kind of can't have him say... What they should have done is show a separate... There's
so much more potential.
There's so much more potential for this film. Ways that they could have configured it different, showing the outside maybe a wee bit clearer.
Yep.
Because you could have went to... Once she did stab him, you could have went to their world.
That was what I was just going to say.
And you could have seen what happened to him. You could have seen if she was the brains behind it, or if he was, or if it was a team member.
That... Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I was going to ask... Well, we'll get... I'm still not giving my general thoughts. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But one more, like, spoilery thing, though, towards the end... Since we're doing it out of order.
How am I doing it?
No, I don't mean you, I just mean that we were doing this. When she bashes Harry Styles' head in simulation, if she makes it out at the end, she's then going to get rid of the body that's lying next to her. Because...
Yeah, so the women... That's
you know what I mean?
else
They don't
that's
ever...
unfair. The women can die.
Uh-huh.
The women can fall and die and live.
Sorry.
They don't die in the real world if they die in the simulation.
How is that established? I missed that one.
Well, because the neighbour comes back, she falls off the building. She's supposed to be dead, and then they say when she has killed him, and Olivia Wilde's there, she says it's different for the men. If the men die in the simulation, they die in real life.
Oh, maybe that's ringing a bit. Right, okay.
But so why is it different?
Yeah.
Why is it different then? Because it's the same simulation.
It feels like a half-finished script.
It
They made
definitely
it a movie.
does.
It felt like it could have done a lot more treatment.
There was points to this film that I really liked and I really enjoyed and has loads of potential. But then it's all these holes that let you down with it.
So my general thoughts. We watched the trailer there before we started recording to refresh ourselves because it's been a while, and watching that trailer just reminded me of how much I've came around this film to the negative side, and not because of the drama behind it. Obviously, so I'll start from the start. I loved Booksmart. Booksmart
Brilliant film.
really impressed me in a way that I didn't expect it to, which is my favourite type of movie. You know, I love, obviously, being a critic and stuff. You like to be surprised. So I went into Booksmart probably narrow-mindedly thinking, oh, this is going to be super bad, but with girls instead of boys. No, it's a really heartfelt, well-told coming-of-age story with two great performances at the centre, and it's well-directed, it's creative, it's worth watching whatever age you are, whether you're at school or whether you're an adult, look back.
Hilariously funny.
Booksmart's great, right? So that was Olivia Wilde's first movie, as far as I know, or at least the first kind of major one that I've seen anyway. Anyway, I think it was her first kind of big. I don't know if she's directed TV stuff. Anyway, so right for the get go when this was announced and when I think the first trailer was shown, I was immediately like, oh shit, she's going series for her next one. She's going. That was the first thought, was just, oh, she's going for comedy series, and then not only is she going to series, but she's going to this like cerebral,
weird,
existential, layered story that looks trippy and it looks. And you've got Florence Pugh, who, like you said, is riding high at the minute. She's great in everything she's in.
Phenomenal.
A great leading
Absolutely
performance, like 100%, right? So, absolutely on board 100%. And then, I agree with you with the oversaturation in the trailers, and then all the drama behind it happened. But I'm not going to go into that here because I very much... The same way, there was a bit of drama with The Woman King as well, and there's drama with loads of films that come out recently, I feel like. I always try and view the thing outside of that, and it's the same, like, honestly, it's the same way, like, I'm reviewing a lot of games now for FandomWire. Shout out, go and check out my FandomWire reviews. But
the link is below.
What I really like doing, and I kind of miss this reviewing games so regular like I'm doing just now, see before, when I was just doing the odd one, I like, not just a game, a film, an album, whatever, I like experiencing it away from the hype. Because see, when it comes out, if everybody loves it, if it's getting tens across the board, quite a lot of time I'll play it or watch it or listen to it and I'll go, it's alright, but I don't think it's quite up there. Or the opposite, everybody was slagging it off and I'll think, this is alright. And you feel like you're kind of out the conversation, out the loop, out the minute. the kind of majority opinion. Whereas, see if you can play something or watch something 6 months after it's died down and nobody's talking about it, I feel like I get more of an honest opinion on what I think. And it's happened in cases
That's
where
why I don't watch reviews or anything
I know you
before I go
hate
see
stuff
things.
taking your opinion, and I get that too, I guess. But it's happened the case where, like, I'll say it's a film, I'll watch the film at the height of all the hype, and I'll either think, oh, that's amazing, or that's garbage, and then I'll watch it 6 months later and I'll think, oh, it's not, either it's not that bad, or it's not as good as I thought it was. Like, your opinion shifts. So yeah, that's why that was a side tangent, sorry, but that's just why I like distance and drama, because I don't like, what effects and stuff. So went in this film and had heard the sort of middling reviews, but I thought, I still hope it's good. And it wasn't because
It wasn't.
other than the lead performance, I think Florence Pugh was great.
Yeah.
Other than her lead performance, I don't think anything in this film was up to a great standard. I think a lot of the side actors were wasted. I feel like Chris Pine and Gemma Chan could both be used a lot more than they were.
More.
They're two really good actors and they were underused. Harry Styles, well, I don't think his performance was awful. And I don't, if you can know the accent anyway, that the performance
You
is
came
fine.
away saying you were quite impressed with him. You were surprised at how good you thought he was.
However, the points where it becomes obvious is when he's in a one-on-one scene with Florence Pugh, which unfortunately is a lot of this film. And that's when you go, aye. I think in scenes on his own, he's fine. You don't think, oh, he's terrible, like, he's fine. But see, when they're having an argument or they're having whatever they're doing, there's any sort of conversation, you go, oh, she's an actor and he's a musician. Like, it's
Really?
obvious to me. When I was watching it in cinema, I was like, that's somebody that knows what they're doing, and that's somebody that's just a tourist, that's just here for. That was just the feeling I got. And that, I mean, I guess it's hard to sort of,
I wouldn't necessarily agree with.
I just don't feel like he was up to the same standard as
Of course not, but
Florence Pugh,
she's
and
brilliant.
there was so many scenes where it was just those two, and those were the scenes that stood out. I think the ensemble scenes when like they were in the groups and stuff, it wasn't as
I
obvious.
thought they had quite good chemistry together.
It's not even the chemistry, because you could put a lot of that on Florence Pugh carrying it. It was because he's just bouncing off of her, I guess. It's just when they're both delivering passionate speeches or they're both delivering anger or frustration or whatever it is, hers is just way more convincing than his. 100%.
I think you're doing a maybe bit of an injustice there.
I didn't think he was like awful.
Like the scene in the car when they're taking it away and they're in the car. I thought he was great in that scene.
So again, he was good kind of after she went away, but see when they were arguing in the car before that, and he was just telling her like, "Oh, keep calm, it'll be okay." So it felt like he was reading a script.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like she
Okay.
showed him up a bit with how good she is.
She's
She would show a lot of actors, like a lot of actual actors up. As I'm saying, I'm trying not to slag him too much because he's done a bit for us than I could give. Like, I can't,
he definitely was a lot better
I'm not saying he's a bad
than I expected
actor.
him to be too.
Yeah, I'm not saying a bad actor, and there was moments that I thought he'd done a decent job if you can look past the accent. But I just felt when he was alongside her, it really was obvious. My last point, there are a ton of other movies, simulation movies, that have been done better than this. A ton. And done the thing where it just spent far too long on the setup and on the, oh, this is weird, isn't it? Oh, look at this weird thing. There's an invisible pane of glass squeezing her against the wall. What can that mean? Oh, she put her hands up and then she woke up in her bed. Oh, what can that be? Like, it spent so long. It generally spends about, I don't know how long the film is. I'd say it's 2 hours, right? An hour and 45 minutes is, oh, what's going on? And then the last 50 minutes is, oh, it's a simulation.
Yeah.
And at that point, I went, oh, this is The Matrix, or this is countless other simulation movies. And like I said, they did it better. And I just feel like if you're going to go into that sort of trope and that sort of saturated storytelling device, you have to nail it. And I don't feel like this film did.
Do you know what I think this film would really benefit from?
What?
Being a mini-series.
Probably, yeah.
Or
Just
being
fleshed
a
it out more.
standalone season.
Yeah, like a limited series.
If you were to have like the kind of first couple of episodes of being like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, and then the other 6 exploring. Sure.
And then it can show you Chris Pine and Gemma Chan's world. It can show you what he does when he does leave. Isn't like as Sharon Appy. It can go proper like
yeah, horrible.
gory, proper minging. It could explore so many things.
Yeah.
And answer all the questions. I would even if they were to turn around and go, sorry guys, we're going to redo this as a one standalone season, I didn't watch it.
Do you want to know the issue with that though? And this isn't even like MD in the film's fault or MD involved with the film's fault. What apparently this, it sounds insane, and I don't know if this is 100% true. This is just what I've heard on the internet and stuff, but like New York Post and stuff, Washington Post, like reputable sources. Apparently, Warner Bros. Only had the money to release 2 movies this year. They lost so much money last year that they only had the money to release this and Black Adam. That's the only things that Warner Bros. Have released this year.
And all their money went to Black Adam.
And it's because, well, remember last year they'd done that thing where they launched HBO Max and all their movies went straight to streaming?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 84 and Godzilla vs. Kong and all these films, they went straight to streaming. They lost also a shit ton of money, not for the cinema, for the box offices. That apparently, allegedly, the only money they had left was put into these 2 films, the distribution and the budgets, the making of them. So I wonder if the reason that this isn't limited series might be because of that, like financial limitations, maybe. I don't know, just a guess.
It could have done...
And that's not Olivia Wilde's fault. It's not Florence Pugh's fault. It's not anything to do with this movie's fault. That's just a studio thing.
It could have done with either being a miniseries or being another 45 minutes long, which would have been too long.
Yeah.
It would have felt its length then.
Yeah.
But for what you leave needing covered, it would have needed another good 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's honestly, I wouldn't even say it's a bad movie. Like,
it's not.
I'm not. We'll get to scores in a minute, but I'm not like even on the lower end of my scoring or anything. It's not like.
No.
It's just it's been done better before, loads of times, and it's not. Other than Florence Pugh's performance, I would say there's anything remarkable about the film. There's nothing else that I was like, oh, that was quality. Like, that was the only part that I was like engaged with, and that was the thing that kind of kept me going through a lot of it. To be honest, I probably should have completely if it wasn't for her. She carried a lot of weight for this film.
Yeah.
And you would need, whether it's her, but it's another great actor. You need someone at the core of it to carry it. So Olivia Wilde was lucky she had her. What they did behind the scenes after it, where she sort of sabotaged Florence Pugh, was weird. But again, that's behind the scenes drama that we may go into. But yeah, I just think what a waste of potential, what a waste of like Olivia Wilde's rising stardom as a director, because I feel like she was in a really good path for Booksmart, and this has just been a pure miss. Florence Pugh won't be hurt by it because she's Florence Pugh and she's got a bunch of guys lined up and she's in Marvel.
And she's phenomenal in this.
Yeah, exactly. She's great in it. So it won't
she's the best.
It won't have any great effect in the long run. I think this movie in the long run will just be forgotten. I think people will just forget about it and be like,
you can go, oh yeah.
Remember that movie that could have been cool? Maybe somebody will remake it in a bunch of years and make it actually good. I don't know, but it's a shame. Again, I wanted to like I want to like every movie I go and see, but I wanted to like this because I was like, oh, everybody was going serious and she's exploring these kind of weird trippy themes, and I don't know, it should have been great, and it was just, I've seen it done before better. That's my kind of main takeaway. It's not a terrible film, it's not offensively bad. No one, even Harry Styles, isn't offensively bad to watch. It's just, it's a simulation movie.
It is. It's a shame because, like I said, there was so many aspects of this film that I did like at the start, and then it just
the promise
get done, and then there's no payoff to it.
I think I said this in my Cyberpunk review, and it's also, so I still feel this way about that Cyberpunk game and about Batman v Superman. I kind of feel like, especially watching that trailer again, I kind of feel like I'm still waiting to see the movie that promised. The potential that this thing promises is greater than what it gives you.
Yeah, well, you just said when we watched that film, the trailer is so good.
Yeah.
The trailer is so
really
good.
Really well edited, and yeah.
But there was a lot of unnecessary, like for me, I kind of felt like, see all those kind of scenes with the synchronized swimming, like the black and white scenes, kind of felt like they weren't needed.
Yeah, they weren't, but that's what she was meant to be seen on the ceiling in the projection.
Yeah, so I understand that.
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
But it's overused.
Sure.
I think, and this they could have used it maybe like 3 or 4 times less than they do.
I just think they spend too long to give you the review, and then when they do, it doesn't feel worth it.
No, the payoff's
Unfortunately.
not good enough.
So yeah, like I said, nobody's watching this for recommendations because the movie's been out for ages at this point. But it's not something I would rewatch either. I think, which is a shame because again, I want it to be that sort of movie that I was like, oh, let's go and
I would maybe rewatch it, like if I was just flipping through the channels and it was on,
Yeah.
I'd go, oh, and then I'd go, oh.
then you'd
Turn it
remember
off
how
again.
it ends. And you'd be like, oh, I can't be arsed. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. The start of this film is definitely much better than the end. Feels like they put all the effort into the beginning of this film and then just went, oh, we need an ending.
What would you rate it?
I'd go 6.
I think I'm at a 5.
But for me, Florence Pugh is the 5 of that 6.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's her film, and she's the best thing about it, and she's the only real reason to watch it.
I'd go a 6.
Yeah, I could fall either side of the 5. I could go a 6. I could go a 4, but I'll say a 5. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's not like a 3 or a 2. It's just.
No.
It's just
just
fine.
fine.
Yeah, it's just fine. Maybe watch it. It's on streaming. Maybe watch it on streaming. But I wouldn't, I mean, like I said, it's no point in this now because it's been out for ages. But
I did like it more than I thought I was going to.
if you're a time traveller and you're going back to when this movie came out, don't bother. Wait for it to come up on streaming.
Yeah.
But hey, it's already on streaming. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's worth sticking on if you're totally bored with nothing to watch, but it's not going to blow your socks off. It's not going to be something you remember. And
if you're pure fancy Florence Pugh like me, then watch it. But
it's not going to hold up. It's not going to stand the test of time the way that films like The Matrix and stuff have, which this takes a lot from. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's fine. Whatever. What I wonder though, the part I'm curious about is what does Olivia Wilde do next? Because she's sort of tarnished her reputation in the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
But I wonder, could she still turn it around? Could she still make something really interesting? Whether it's another comedy, whether it's another serious movie or something. Will people see it? Will she get big actors on board? Well, can I really feel like she's ruffles feathers in Hollywood? And
I don't think she's got as many friends as what she had before this film.
I think it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to go into people's personal lives, but I'm just curious to see how it's going to go in the long run for people behind this film. But yeah, those were our movies. I think you'll agree, some ups and some downs this week. We'll be back next week to talk about. Let me look. Peril's one of them.
Yeah.
Which spoilers was great. Peril was one of them, and Black Adam, which we already mentioned, and The Banshees of Inisherin, which we already mentioned. So yeah.
So next week will be a rave.
We'll be back to talk about those. Yeah, we'll probably more positive episode next week. Sorry for the delay between episodes, but like I said, hopefully that'll pick up a bit. And Pop Shock will be back at some point, maybe next weekend. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for listening. Leave us a like and subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and whatever else we're on. I think we're on Instagram. But Jared does all that stuff. Yeah, check out. Like I said, I'll put my FandomWire reviews in the description. You can read them if you like. And we'll see you next time to talk about more movies. Bye. I was going to say catches, but I get thinking.